Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's HIGHMMA and today we are here to discuss last night's UFC event, UFC Tampa, the last card of the year. It was a crazy one. There were a lot of finishes. I'm not going to go through every single fight on the card today because some of them I'm just not that interested in. I'm going to talk about the ones that got my interest the most, starting with the main event, Joaquin Buckley versus Colby Covington. What a crazy fight. I got my prediction right. Buckley via round 2 TKO. Even though it was a doctor stoppage, not really the fucking emphatic finish I was expecting, we still got a Buckley beatdown. Exactly what I was expecting to happen, you know, the strength of him coming down from 185 compared to, you know, Colby being a small 170 pounder. I said this in the lead up, and I feel like Colby is just over the hill now. I think in this fight he showed that, you know, he just doesn't really have the same hunger and grit that he used to. We saw in the MMA Guru interview in the lead up, he's talking about poker all the time. He's not as hungry about MMA. I think maybe one more fight and he should be looking to leave the sport, honestly. But let's talk about Buckley. He looks really good. You know what I mean? The hands are looking really fucking crispy. Lots and lots of power at 170, and he's got speed as well for such an insane muscly frame. And another thing on top of that, he has insane cardio. He's got that 5-round cardio, bro. I'm telling you. And after this fight, he called out a couple big names. You know, Leon was out there, Bilal, Usman. People seem more interested in the Usman fight, but I really, really want to see the Leon Edwards fight. I feel like Leon Edwards would be an amazing name for Joaquin Buckley's resume. And I feel like Leon Edwards isn't that hard of a win as what he might seem going into this fight. And I might actually pick Buckley going into this one. I feel like this would be a really good fight. I feel like we should be rooting for it more than the Buckley versus Usman one. But if that one gets made, I won't be mad. I just want to see my boy Buckley fighting the biggest, most just fucking skilled contenders. I want to be seeing him getting up in the rankings. I want to see him get a title shot. I really fucking like this guy, man. He's looking fucking sick. You know what I mean? Right from when he started at 170, beating the shit out of Ruziboyev, he's been looking sick all year, man. I'm really impressed with Buckley. So let's keep this hype train going. Let's see him take out Leon Edwards next. And for Colby, let's see him fight like a Thompson or maybe a Burns might be a better matchup. You know, we can see how his wrestling still fares against some old-fashioned jiu-jitsu, or we could see him, you know, go up against Stephen Thompson, who I think probably wouldn't even do that bad against him at this point in his career. We'll have to wait and see, you know what I mean? The wrestling of Colby might be a bit too much for Thompson. We would have to wait and see. Thompson has some of the best takedown defense in welterweight, so I think there will be some great fights. But let's keep moving through the card. The next fight that I want to talk about today is Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. Another fight I was super impressed with. Manel Kape looking in like the best form of his career. He was looking super fast, really heavy hands. You know, he just read Bruno Silva like a book from the start of the fight leading up to the finish. This was a Manel Kape masterclass. Honestly, one of the best performances of the year. This was what everybody is saying was the best example of flow state maybe ever seen in combat sports. Now, Manel Kape, after getting this crazy finish, needs to be given a big opportunity. I know he's missed weight and all that bullshit in the past, and he had a bit of a lackluster fight against Makayev a couple months ago, but I've moved past that now. I think we should all move past that as well because he was injured in that fight. Let's give him something big. Let's see the Kai France fight for a #1 contender spot. I think this would be an absolute fucking bloodbath. I think we'd see some crazy striking exchanges, and honestly, I'm not sure who I'd pick in this one because they're both really powerful, really quick, really sneaky as well. And I would probably say that Kai France out of the two is the sneakiest, but I would probably root for Manel Kape. I like the fact that there's already beef there. This could easily be a Fight Night main event or like, you know, even a co-main of a pay-per-view. You never know. The fucking trash talk going into this one would be insane. You know, Kai France is cool with Izzy and all of them, and Manel Kape hates them. It's just fucking sick. Manel Kape went crazy on the mic after the fight. I fucking love Manel Kape. He's a great guy. I like this shit for the UFC. We're getting some excitement in flyweight again. We don't need to be bringing Figgy back down from 135. Let's have these two fight it out for a shot at the belt. Fucking make Pantoja fight Royval in the meantime or some shit, or make Pantoja just wait for these two. Let's just make that shit happen. Like, we don't need to be fucking muddling around fighters from different divisions. Let's focus on what we got in each one. I want to see a Manel Kape fucking redemption arc, and I think it's going to happen. So let's go Manel, but let's keep moving through the card because the next fight I want to talk about today is Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo, if I'm saying his name right. you know what, this is one of those fights where when you're just battling your way through the card, you're trying not to fall asleep, and they're just fucking killing you with the boringness. Not that this was a boring fight, it was just very back and forth, and I wasn't taking a lot of notice, but Cub Swanson ended up getting a crazy finish in the third round in a fight where I thought he could have been down on points. I can't really remember what I was exactly thinking in the moment, but I know as soon as I saw that KO, I was thinking, holy shit, the old heads are back. Because we had Michael Johnson also getting a crazy KO on this card, but we'll get into that in a minute. Cub Swanson looking really good. I think this should be the last fight of his career, honestly. It'll be nice to see him go out on a win, especially a KO. You know what I'm saying? A legend of the game. I fucking love Cub. I've grown up watching Cub, and I'd love to see him go out like this. But if he doesn't, you know, give him something fun, give him a big name. I can't really think off the top of my head, but I'd rather see him retire, so I'm not really going to matchmake him up against anyone next. So let's keep moving through the card to the next fight I want to talk about today, which is Yoel Alvarez versus Drakkar Klose, a fight where Alvarez just absolutely dominated, as I predicted. Also, another thing to mention, all of the fights that I've spoken about so far in this video, I predicted correctly, including this one. Yoel Alvarez is a fighter that I'm really excited to see, and I really want to see what he does next in the lightweight division, because in this fight, he looks really good. His finishing ability is there. He can grapple. He can knock people out. He's really well-rounded. He's like Jalen Turner if he knew what to do, as MMA Guru said. You know, that Jalen Turner fight could honestly be pretty cool, but that's not the fight that I want to see him in next. Let's just talk a little bit about this fight, though. The finish was that crazy. You know, Alvarez had already knocked him out, and he just carried on beating the shit out of him. He knew he was out, and he still wanted to carry on throwing knees. This is someone with finishing ability. You know what I mean? He's got that dog in him. That dog in him that, you know, like how I was saying before, a fucking why Izzy doesn't have, I forget the fucking guy's name on the card. I think he was called Sterling. You know, I didn't see that dog in him, but I saw the dog in fucking Yoel Alvarez, bro. He looks sick. What fight do I want to see him in next? I think he's done enough to earn a ranking spot, and honestly, I think he should get rid of this bum that's in the rankings, and I don't know why he's still there. It's Benoit Saint Denis, bro. He's not that good. He's been finished by Poirier. He's been fucking finished by Moicano. Get him out of the fucking rankings. He's not that great. Honestly, I think Alvarez finishes him in the first or second round via submission, or even ground and pound. I don't think that BSD is that good, but if BSD could get a win back against a really, really good name like Yoel Alvarez, and think about Alvarez and what a threat he is in the division. I mean, he's like 6'3". He's not exactly skinny either. Fuck knows how he's making 155, but I'm on the hype train. I want to see him do well. Throw him a decently well-known name like BSD on a fucking Fight Night main event or a Fight Night co-main event. That would be fucking fireworks, bro. Tell me it wouldn't be. I know you all want to see that fight. I want to see that fight. This is expert matchmaking, bro. Let's see this shit next. But let's keep moving through the card, boys. There's a couple more fights we got to get through today. The next one is Michael Johnson versus Alza Tayer. Now, this was a crazy fight, a fight in which I originally said that I had Michael Johnson by KO, then I switched to Alza Tayer, and then I proved myself wrong with my original pick. Michael Johnson getting a crispy KO, looking really, really fucking good. Bro, Michael Johnson went in there with the unk physique, bro. I thought this guy was cooked. He does not look like he should be fighting in the highest level of the fucking MMA world right now. But he is, and he looks really fucking good. I was so impressed. You know, he was piecing up Alza Tayer the whole fucking fight leading up to the KO. And the KO was so fucking good. Very reminiscent of a Max Holloway kind of, you know, Justin Gaethje looking KO. Or TKZ. You know what the kind of thing I'm getting at. You know, that floppy kind of fucking, you know, face straight to the canvas kind of KO, bro. My favorite kind. MJ looking really good towards the end of his career now as well, you have to expect, but he made it very clear in the post-fight interview and shit that he still wants to fight, and he's still feeling great fighting wise. And now I know this is a bit of an underrated take and maybe a bit of an unpopular opinion, but if you really want to see DP go out on a really good win instead of, you know, fighting like a Topuria and getting chinned if Topuria comes up to lightweight or some shit like that, you know, don't get me wrong, I think Dustin Poirier could probably beat a hooker in a rematch or some shit like that, but what about avenging a loss? What about Dustin Poirier versus Michael Johnson 2, bro? this would be a sick fight, a chance for DP to avenge an old loss like he is avenged with Conor McGregor now. I think that'd be fucking sick, and it would also improve his legacy a lot just before he closes out on his career. I'd really love to see this fight. It'd be a great fight night main event, you know, maybe in fucking Louisiana or wherever it is that Dustin Poirier's from. I think that'd be fucking sick, bro. I think that the fans would love it. A lot of the OG fans would come back to watch that one. I feel like if you're an old school fan, you'd be really into this fight, but if not, you probably won't be, and I completely understand it, man, and you probably want to see DP fight someone a little bit higher up in the rankings. I totally understand. I just feel like this would be a sick fight, but that's all I've really got to say about MJ, so let's keep moving through today's card. Well, I say today's card, it was yesterday's. The next fight we're talking about is... On this card, we also had surging prospect Felipe Lima take on Miles Johns, who was meant to be fighting my GOAT, Cody Garbrandt, but Garbrandt had to pull out. Miles Johns was talking hella shit about it, and he got punched in the fucking mouth about it last night. I stuttered on my words then, that was fucking embarrassing. But listen, we'll fucking forget about that, we'll keep talking. Listen, Felipe Lima is looking fucking sick. I think this is a future star in the UFC. Maybe not a future champ, but definitely a future contender nonetheless. I think we should throw him a decently well-known name, or if not a decently well-known name, at least a decently skilled name at 145 next. I think we should give him Jordan Vucenic. You know, he's coming off of a loss in his UFC debut, but he is a previous Cage Warriors champion. He's a really good fighter. He has some insane KO power, and Felipe Lima is really, really good as well. We saw him displaying his chin. You know, Miles Johns had some really crazy big overhands that he was cracking Lima with, and Lima didn't really seem too phased, man, and he was doing really well against Johns. I'm pretty sure he dropped him at one point. You know, Lima's looking actually like he could go pretty far at featherweight, now that I think about it. So let's see how he does against a Vucenic, and if he does well against him, maybe we need to see about just throwing him straight in the rankings. I don't know, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit too fucking hopeful, but I think that a Vucenic versus Lima fight would be pretty cool next. I want to see a prospect versus prospect matchup, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him fight another fucking big, like, small, burly guy that's just going to come in throwing crazy overhands like a fucking Joe Anderson Brito or something. I want to see him fight someone with some pretty fucking sharpened skills, you know what I mean? I want him to fight someone with similar skill set to him. So let's see him take on Vucenic. I feel like this would be a sick fight. I want to see Felipe Lima build up a nice little legacy, like in the unranked area of the featherweight division before he goes into the rankings, actually. Maybe like a couple more fights instead of that stupid fucking idea about 2 and then the rankings. I just want to see this guy do well, man. I really, really like him. I think you should really, really like him. So jump on the Felipe Lima hype train now, boys. Go fucking root for him, and let's keep moving through this card, because the next fight I want to touch on today is the fucking Sean the Word Woodson fight, taking on Pindilla, whatever the fucking guy's name was. Listen, Sean Woodson was looking really good. He was catching Padilla when he was being too over the top. Padilla fucking gassed himself out in like a round. He was just throwing these crazy fucking combos that didn't really seem to have too much technique to him, and Sean the Worm was just counter-shotting every single time that he'd overswing. He was looking really good, really crispy, and eventually he just landed the world's crispiest combination of all time, and he just absolutely fucking put Padilla to sleep, bro. I don't even know what else to say. Sean the Worm just worming and squirming around that octagon, just hit him with one of the nastiest wombo combos you've ever seen. I had a crazy reaction on live. We all couldn't believe it. I was rooting for Sean the Worm. He looks really good. I don't know what he does next. His frame at that weight class is just scary. I don't know how it's allowed, man, but I fucking love the fact that it's allowed, and I fucking love Sean Woodson. He creeps me out a little bit, but I still like him. So I want to see him do well. I'm not really sure what he does next, but I was impressed by how he did in this fight. I couldn't really nitpick any really errors from him. I think he looks really good, man, so let's give him something good next. I think he's on like a 5-fight win streak, so maybe give him someone in the rankings. I know that he beat Lima this year as well. Really good from Sean Woodson, great form, great way to end out the year as well. Let's see what he could do in 2025, but let's move on to another fight that I just want to touch on before I close out today's video. It is Vitor Petrino versus Dustin Jacoby. I'm fucking tired. I don't even know his first name, bro. But listen, Petrino is just a bum. I picked him in this fight, and I shouldn't have done. I picked against him when he fought Anthony Smith, and Anthony Smith got the win. That should have showed me everything I need to know going into this one. Petrino looks the part, but isn't the part. He's a good MMA fighter, don't get me wrong, but not good for the UFC, bro. I feel like he is overrated. I think the fact that he just looks really strong and he's Brazilian is helping him a lot when it comes to, you know, people picking him and shit. I don't think he's that good, and it kind of got proven last night because fucking Jacoby flatlined him. He put him straight to sleep. That's crazy. Now imagine being, you know, tapped out by Anthony Smith and then put to sleep by Dustin Jacoby. Bro, I've just done the same fucking thing. But it is really embarrassing. I'm not really sure what Petrino does next. I think he could get cut. You know, I think the UFC had really high aspirations for him. And in these last two fights, he's just shown that there was absolutely no reason for it because he's not looking that fucking good. But listen, boys, I'm going to close out today's video there. This was an amazing card. A great way to end a great year of fights. 2024. I'd like to thank you all for locking in since I started the channel back in like February times. We've come a long way, boys, and we're only going to get bigger through 2025. So lock in now, subscribe now, hop on the train. Now you know what I'm going to say. You don't have to like, you don't even have to subscribe if you don't want to. Do what the fuck you want, man. But I hope you have a nice day, evening, night, whatever the fuck you're doing, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.